years, the deer have liked to come from the bedding straight back behind me to the north here. They head straight south through these woods, go out into the corn, or last year it was beans, and I had a lot of footage of them coming out right along here. So I've been wanting to put a bow stand over here. We have a blind over here that you can gun on out of, but nothing really for bows. So I had this 2-man ladder stand that I bought this off season, and I've been wanting to get it out. So my dad and I put it up this afternoon, and I decided to come sit at it this evening and see if anything comes by. There's a couple of good crossings across the creek, and then there's a trail that actually runs right along the creek right here. So I'm hoping to at least see something, and I can shoot out to the edge of the corn too. It's about 30 yards or so to the edge right there. So I think it should be a good spot. My son Nate came out with my dad, and it's his first time being out this year. I think like his 3rd time overall. And they popped up a 10 blind a couple hundred yards over on a hayfield edge where we've been getting some deer that come out most of the evenings. So the goal tonight is to get something so that he's able to blood trail it and have some fun. But he's got his monster trucks and lots of snacks, so I'm sure he's having a good time with Grandpa. But we're gonna sit tight here for a little bit, and hopefully something will come by.
Okay. I can hold this one.
Yeah.
And I can have the other one on my head.
Yeah. When we go in, we'll put the other one on your head. Does that sound like a deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
How?
So the rest of the bow season was pretty uneventful. I had a few more deer that came by. Definitely went out quite a bit, but just nothing that I was super interested in taking. They either, were in the corn and not quite close enough, or, just too small. I had several small bucks that were kind of roaming around, but nothing of any size. So I elected to pass on everything and just kind of sat tight and kept an eye on my trail cameras. I had several trail cameras that were spread out around the property. I would, continually check them, keep batteries updated, and just wasn't getting anything super big on there. I had a few decent little 8 points that I was interested in, would have shot, but just they never really daylighted much. I actually ended up shooting one later in gun season. There's actually another video of that on my channel that you can check out as well. I ended up jumping them as I was walking into my stand and had to blood trail them for a while, but I ended up recovering them. And then my dad also ended up shooting a decent little 8-point, but they were both later in the year, towards the end of November, that we really had that opportunity. So October came and went, and then it was into November. As the bow season started to come down to an end, I was able to take a day off of work and was able to get out in the morning. In typical fashion, I got out a little bit later than I wanted, so it was starting to get pretty light out. And as I crossed a field, there was actually a deer that walked out right as I was about to get to my stand. You'll see here in this video, he was just kind of standing out on the edge. He actually ended up coming right out over to me, but definitely not big enough to shoot, and I was still not even in my stand yet. So as I was getting all my stuff ready and hung up in the tree, I looked up as I caught some movement, and actually 2 coyotes were running along the creek out in front of me. I was able to get them to stop. I did a little lip squeak, and they actually both turned and started to come in. Of course, I didn't have my main camera up yet, and the only thing I really had was a GoPro that was strapped on my bow. So as they were kind of coming in, I reached down and turned on my GoPro and got a little clip of me squeaking them in, and the cold must have been affecting my GoPro, because it ended up dying pretty quick. So I got the one clip there of me kind of squeaking them in, and then another clip as you could see the one kind of off to the side checking me out. And they ended up coming right in. The one came into about 20-25 yards and kind of stopped and hung up. And I had a little opening, so I ended up, before he got too nervous, I ended up taking a shot. And he wheeled and ran, and he did like a little yip, if I remember right, as I shot. But other than that, I couldn't really tell if I had hit him or anything. So I decided that I would just continue to hunt and see what else I'd see in the morning, and go down and look a little bit later as it got more light and the morning carried on. So yeah, we'll jump back in here and kind of show how things unveiled after that.
So I had one little opening that I took a shot, and I didn't hear him yip or anything. I think I might have missed. I didn't hear almost looked like to run. When he turned to run, it almost looked like the arrow kind of turned too. Like maybe it had stuck in him a little bit. I'm not really sure. I'll probably go check. I'll check a little bit for blood. I saw him kind of run off for a while. He barreled right out of there, but I don't know. I don't know if I actually hit him or not, but I'll take a look at the arrow and see if I see any blood. But either way, if I missed it, it wasn't by much because I could see with the Luminok, it was going right for him. So that was probably like 45 minutes ago, maybe. And then I was sitting here, and two deer came running across the field towards me, kind of down further to my north. And I was doing some stuff with my GoPros, getting some stuff ready, and then moved. I didn't even know they had come up, but they came up the field edge right behind me. And it was that same little buck from this morning and a doe. So they were out, meandering around, chasing, but they kind of took off now, so finally got a little break here. Yeah, it seems like the deer are really moving. We dropped in temperature from about 75 yesterday to about 40 to 45 today. So I wouldn't be surprised if the deer are really moving this morning, and hopefully throughout the day, but I'm going to stay here for a while. I took the day off work, so I have pretty much the whole day to hunt. I'll probably take off in a couple hours and maybe walk around a little bit, check some cameras, and then check that arrow too. So I'll pick you up in a little bit. see some up over there where it took off. So I'd say it's probably down the way it was taken off. It was crashing through. That might have been the other one that I saw that went further. So I'm probably just gonna blood trail it for a little bit here and see if I can come up on it. So as I said, here's the arrow. I wanted to explain this a little bit better. So when I first saw the coyotes, they were back over here. They were headed this way. And I was up in my stand and I just caught the tail move. And I was like, what the heck? Like, that's not a deer. What was that? Quick got my binoculars up and saw it was a coyote. And it started heading this way. And I quick squeaked at it a couple of times. And it kind of stopped and I was watching it. And I don't think it was this log right here. I think it was one a little bit further back that it was down. It stood up on top and kind of looked back towards me. Like, okay, you know, it definitely heard the squeak. And then then another one came from behind. I was like, oh, okay, there's two of them. And then they kind of slowly worked and they stood by this tree over here. The one did. And it was smelling like crazy, but I was perfectly upwind of it, or downwind of it. There was no way that it was going to be able to smell me. Kind of stood there. There's a little drainage creek right there that it kind of stood along. And then the other one started to go kind of this way, and I thought it was actually going to come in. But then it kind of stopped in here somewhere, and I had lost track of it. And then eventually I kept squeaking here and there, and eventually that one came through here, and it jumped up on top of this log. Jumped up on this log right here and stood looking. And I'm not sure if you can see my stand from here. I think you can see my sticks on the side of the tree. My platform right there. So not that far away. And it kind of stood there for a minute, and I could tell it didn't want to come any closer. And eventually it jumped down, and I think it actually came down the log back this way, and then jumped right down in here. And I had a pretty good one little window that I could shoot through, and was able to kind of thread a shot in there. And I thought, when I shot, I thought I saw, when it turned, it looked like the arrow kind of turned with it, like it had gone into it. So I thought maybe I hit it, but it didn't like yip or anything when I shot, so I wasn't really sure, and I kind of saw them both run off that way. But it looks like I've got pretty good blood here. I mean, there's blood right there at the shot, arrows right there. It's pretty good covered in blood. And then I can see blood starting already over there, and I see a pretty good trail of it going up through there. So I'm gonna go start to follow it here and see what I can find. Side of this stick now. I got some blood down in there. I got blood over here. Oh yeah, I can see it. Right over here. Oh yeah, it's bleeding good now. Under there. walking through here. Right where all their bedding is. Got some good blood over there. And they crossed the creek. Alright, where'd I go? So, good blood there. I got blood up here. There it is right there. Nice. Sweet. Let's go. One last to kill all the baby fawns and turkey. He didn't went a little further, but I'd say probably less than 100 yards. So probably just take a couple pictures here and get out of here before I spook too much. But yeah, at least somewhat eventful morning. Unfortunately, I didn't get any of it on camera. I had my GoPro on my bow going, but it looks like the battery was about dead and it only recorded like 30 seconds or so. So I might have like a little clip of him standing on that log, but he stood there for like a minute probably before I was able to shoot him. So yeah, one less predator on the farm. Alright, well here he is. I dragged him down a couple 100 yards away from where he died down there. He was about 75 yards from one of our main rifle stands, and then about 100 yards away from my grandpa's stand that he hunts in. So I just dragged him down here. I don't want to stir up that area too much or anything. We got rifle season openers in a couple of days, so I dragged him down here just to get a little bit of a better look at him. But yeah, not the biggest coyote I've ever seen, but I'd say a decent sized one. This is my third coyote that I've shot, but my first with a bow. I'm having a hard time finding where I hit him. It kind of looks like I hit back behind in the leg, so I don't know if it came up in or what, but I mean, he didn't go that far, so it had to have gotten something in there, and he bled like a stuck pig, and I don't really think of coyotes as bleeding very much, so had to have been something up in there that it got. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here before I stir things up anymore, and I'm gonna try and get out tonight and see what I see tonight. Hopefully the deer are still moving. I had lots of action this morning, just nothing big enough or close enough, so yeah, we'll pick it up later.
Bye.